welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. This is going to be the weekly reading for the sign of Libra. I'm going to pull out romance, angel messages, animal spirits, and then your traditional spread. But before we get into it, just letting you all know that this Christmas, it's my first Christmas on YouTube, and so I'm giving away the Spirit Animal Oracle deck from Colette Baron Reed to a lucky subscriber, and all you have to do is be subscribed, of course, and leave me a message letting me know that you're actually interested in this deck and working with it. All right, my lovely Libras. I do love Libras. Most of my best friends throughout life have been Libras. I'm a Sagittarius, so of course we get along splendidly. But let's go ahead and pull out some romance angel messages for you, Libra. We're going to pull out 3 of them for your week, and then we'll pull out your animal spirits to see what energies you may or may not be dealing with. Of course, we know that these readings can't be for all Libras, so just take what applies to you and let go of the rest. All right, so we have forgiving and learning. Nice. I always love that card. We have stay optimistic about your love life. All right. And we have chemistry, another one that I really, really love. Strong magnetic attraction is here. Very, very nice. I mean, chemistry is one of those things, isn't it? I mean, don't we all love to meet someone where we are just like, you know, wow, you know, they just, you enjoy their company, they enjoy your company, and the magnetism between the two of you is very, very strong. It's always very nice. So let's get right into your animal spirits, Libra. Of course, animal spirits can represent individuals that you may be dealing with. They can represent stages in your life that you may be getting into, or they can also represent energy, different energies that are becoming available to you right now to deal with a certain situation, right? So let's just see, my lovely, lovely Libra, what we got for you this week. Sign of the scales. We want to know the animal spirits that you may or may not be walking with. Those of you who are regulars on my channel, you know that I generally don't take flyers. My cards are usually very focused. This week, the cards have been very jumpy, very erratic. Feels like the energy is very sort of palpable. All right, Libra, let's pull them out and see what's going on for you. The spider, associated with Dharma, earth energy, of course, right? That at the top of these particular earth animal spirits are the alchemical symbols, right? So that one at the top, the upside down triangle with the line through it, is the alchemical symbol for earth. And you may see that, you know, in your readings or going, you know, whatever you come across. And of course, here we have the fish and the alchemical symbol for water. Of course, it's a water energy. And air for the moth. All right, air element. Very, very interesting. Very, very different animal spirits. Let's get right into it. The spider is associated with Dharma. And what do we mean by Dharma? Living a life of Dharma is when we live our life absolutely in concert with our moral or spiritual code. When every step that we take and every choice that we make, we filter those decisions through our own spiritual lens or spiritual sort of center. This is living a life of Dharma. An example would be if you ever meet someone, you know, who is, you know, in America we have good God-fearing Christians, right? You ever meet someone who is, you know, a woman, an older woman, perhaps she's lived her whole life as a Christian, and when she talks, she says, you know, my faith wouldn't allow me to do that. You know, God would not allow me, would not, you know, Jesus would want me to take this action. This is a woman who has strong faith and who lives her life in Dharma. And it is a beautiful thing to see when someone has faith in their spiritual beliefs to such a degree. And what happens is that the decisions and the actions that they take in their lives begin to form a pattern, just like a spider web. Because when everything that you do, when every action you take is measured against the same sort of yardstick, right? Your spiritual yardstick, then it will form a pattern. And this is what the spider is all about. It talks about building a web of financial strength and spiritual strength for itself and for its loved ones because of its deep, deep commitment to its faith, its spiritual code, and living a life along those lines. Very beautiful card. Now, the fish is a water element, of course, and the fish talks about type of energy that somebody may have when they're just, you know, going with the currents, you know, just letting the currents take them wherever they may. Not being very responsible with where they're going in life, per se. This is a person who's going to be, you know, their attitude is like, oh, I don't care about tomorrow. I'll just let the world take me, life take me where it wants to take me, yada, yada, yada. And that's all well and good, but oftentimes what happens is that with these type of individuals, they have very shallow, slippery relationships, right? Because they confuse adventure and spirit with not giving a fuck. And there's a big difference, you know. You can absolutely go with life and have this sort of spirit in your life and still put the effort into your important relationships, still put the effort into your friendships, into your family. I know many people throughout my life who have been world travelers, who've led extremely exciting lives, yet they have maintained strong relationships with their friends and their community and their culture. Very different from a fish. A fish generally is extremely irresponsible. This is not the type of person you want to get into a relationship with. They'll be here today, gone tomorrow, and they make absolutely no intention of sort of maintaining that connection because of this misguided sort of view that they are somehow living some extraordinarily adventurous life. But oftentimes, these type of individuals find themselves alone towards the later part of their lives because they've never put the time into cultivating their friendships. Now, moth energy is air energy, and the moth is associated with always seeing that the grass is greener on the other side, always looking for the next shiny new penny or the next shiny new thing to catch their attention. A moth is associated with wishful thinking, hastiness, right? Someone who really doesn't put the time or effort in. Very much like the fish, but in a different way. The moth is always looking for the next best thing, right? They have no commitment, and they oftentimes are absolutely unwilling to put the effort into building something beautiful. As soon as there is some sign of trouble or some sign of work that needs to be done in a relationship, they're gone because they just don't feel like putting the effort in. Right? And they oftentimes will always look to see something else better, right? Even in the wild, you see moths are oftentimes, where do they attract? They're attracted to the flame. Moths are attracted to fire, to lights, you know. This is how, you know, some of the things, apparatus that are out there for killing moths, you know, are it's just a light, an electrified light. So once the moth hits it, it's electrocuted, that's it, you know. So this is the problem with the moth energy, is that oftentimes somebody who's resonating with this kind of energy will make decisions that are very, very unhealthy or even dangerous for it because it is just sort of blinded by the glitteriness or the shininess of something new. All right, Libra. Now we're going to pull out about 4 to 6 3-card spreads just to see what you may or may not be going through this week. And this is where we begin to see how these animal spirits and romance angel messages are impacting your week. And again, just take what applies to your situation, what resonates with you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. And of course, my readings are not gender specific or sexual orientation specific. It doesn't matter if you are gay, straight, transsexual, lesbian. It really doesn't matter who you are or who you are with. When we are talking about energies, we are talking about masculine and feminine energies that we all tap into in some degree. All right? All right, guys. So let's pull out your first spread. Libra, straight out, Ace of Cups, lovely. The World and the High Priestess. All right. An ace and 2 major arcana, very, very strong. Libra, this week you are coming into a new love. A new love, perhaps the chemistry is off the hook, right? What else can I say? Ace of Cups. But aces are potentials, right? It's the potential to suit. So this is a new love with a new love connection or a new potential love connection. It still requires, obviously, your input and the other person's input to see what develops, but there's absolutely a strong potential for a nice love union. You're met with the world, and world really talks about that feeling of everything kind of working in your favor. Again, this is another sort of fate has its eyes on you sort of energy, right? The world comes in at a time when we feel as though we are absolutely where we should be, right, in our lives. We know that everything that we've gone through up until now is what was necessary to get us to where we're at now. And so the World card is a very positive energy that comes into our lives when it's time for us to reconcile our past and accept it for what it is, rather than fighting against it or having resentment for it. It's when we, you know, and it happens. For a lot of us, it can happen that at certain points in our lives, we may have felt very resentful of some of the things we've gone through, right? Some of the experiences we've had. But then there's certain stages in our lives where we are thankful for those same experiences, because we know that only through the sum total of our life experience would we be where we are at right now. And where we are at right now is exactly where we have always wanted to be. Do you know what I mean? And so in this way, the World card comes into our lives. This energy comes into our lives when we are really ready to accept the totality of our lives and not just the good times. You round the week off with a High Priestess, and it seems to be a real spiritual awakening for you. I think this love connection and this world energy that's coming into you is beginning to really make you feel like there is a spirit at work here, that perhaps there is a side of you that is beginning to develop, your intuitional side, your spiritual side, your spiritual voice, as it were, or your gut, you know, speaking to you. This is a real kind of learning, right? This is a real learning and learning process. And it may even be some spider energy, in the sense that this is all fitting into sort of the way you are living your life. You're getting reaffirmations that the way you are going about living your life according to your own moral or spiritual center is bringing in the things that you need. It's bringing in love, and it's bringing in the feeling of knowing that you are at the right place in your life. All of this is coming in the form of the High Priestess. So it's like a very internal conversation that some of you are having, Libra. An internal kind of like, wow, you know, this is it. This is who I am, and I knew this was going to happen. And maybe there's something to, you know, maybe I need to investigate the spiritual side of this, intuitional side of myself, because it's working for me, right? It's working for me. Very, very nice indeed. A real awakening, and certainly through this love connection. 2 of Swords, 3 of Swords, King of Cups. Some of you come in this week feeling like you're having to make an impossible decision. You're feeling pressured. You feel like you're between a rock and a hard spot, you know. That's what they call it, a rock in a hard place, right? 2 of Swords talks about a decision that's almost impossible to make. You just can't choose. You know, the character is blindfolded. She's trying to feel the right decision to make, yet she still can't make it. She's torn. And you are met with a 3 of Swords, which is quite interesting. Just as you're about to make a certain decision, you find out some information that lets you know that someone has not been honest with you. Someone has broken the trust or the loyalty. And the decision that you thought you had to make is really totally sort of turned upside down by this event this week, this awakening, this realization that you're having. And this is definitely going to be in the area of a love connection, for sure. Even though 3 of Swords is not a cup card, it's a Swords card. So this trust or disloyalty is to come in. It's about the way somebody has treated you or spoken to you. The actions that they've taken has amounted in sort of breaking the bond or the trust that you had with them. And it could vary. For instance, an example would be, say for instance, you are in a position where you're having to choose between moving away from where you live now and all your family, and moving away with someone that you love, right? Or staying here and possibly messing up this connection with this person that you love. 2 impossible decisions. One is leaving your home and your family behind, and one is possibly losing your love connection. So you're finding it's an impossible decision, right? This is just an example. And then this week you find out that perhaps someone hasn't been honest. You know, someone in your family perhaps hasn't been honest with you, has been sort of disloyal, or perhaps your person that you were just about to move away with, you're finding out that they've been disloyal, they've been dishonest. And it throws this whole decision on its head. It throws it all over, because now it's almost like there's a whole nother scenario, and it's almost like this decision isn't even relevant anymore, because now you're having to deal with this new information. It results in the King of Cups at the end of the week for you, which is kind of like you deciding and taking control of your love life. You deciding exactly what you want and going after it, right? So King of Cups is the one, he knows what he wants. He knows who he wants. He knows what level of commitment he wants. He oftentimes can be a little bit possessive and jealous as well, but he is firmly in charge of his love connections, his relationships, right? He is the one who is the dominant one, right? And I think that this is what happens. Up until now, it could have been that you were more the submissive one. It could be that you were more going along with your lover's decisions. You know, they were maybe calling the shots. But as a result of all of this information or this event that comes out this week, you turn it all on its head and you're like, I'm calling the shots now, and I'm going to decide what I want for my love life. And you kind of come from a position of power rather than from a position of being forced to make an impossible decision, which you resented anyway. Knight of Cups, Four of Swords, and the Tower. So, Tower's been coming up a lot this week for people. So I think almost every weekly reading I've done so far, one of the forecasts did have a Tower moment in it. And so here we are, Libra. Some of you are coming into this week with a Knight of Cups. You're wanting to give your cup of love to someone. That's you. You're wanting to hand your cup of love to someone. There's someone that you have your eye on, that you're in pursuit of. But you're met with a Four of Swords. It's quite interesting, because this person that you're wanting to hand your cup to, they're being very cagey. Right? All of a sudden, they're being very cagey. They're being very strategic with you. I think they're not responding to you in the way that you wanted them. I think you thought that once you came towards this person, Libra, that they would be like sort of totally in open arms and accepting. But what you're finding is that they're kind of like, hang on a second, I'm not sure what I want to do. And this is really throwing you for a loop, because you round off the week with a Tower moment. I'm going to say for some of you, this is a connection with someone that you thought was absolutely on a certain track. And you're realizing, because of their hesitancy, because of their decision to sort of say, hang on, give me a moment. I want to decide how I want to move forward. I have stability that I want to maintain. And I'm not sure if accepting your cup of love, Libra, will help me with that. But to give me some time to think about it. Just the fact that they're saying that to you is a Tower moment. It's making you feel like, hang on a second, did I get this all wrong? You know, what's going on here? And I think there's more to this story that meets the eye. Very much. And it won't come out until perhaps the next week's. But this week, it's just kind of that change in vibe or attitude. You know, and the reason why it's a Tower moment for you, perhaps even all the way up until now, this person may have been extremely enthusiastic about being with you. Which is why you had the courage to sort of, you know, want to hand them your cup of love. And it's almost like as soon as you decided that you wanted to be with them, all of a sudden their mood changes, their attitude changes. Very moth energy in a lot of ways, you know, wanting what they can't have. It feels like you're dealing with somebody that up until now, when you weren't sort of coming towards them, they were all about you. And then now, as soon as that they realize that they have you now, it's not so much that energy. And that is someone who always wants what they can't have, or they like people to be in a position of vulnerability so they can take advantage of it. You know, the type of person who waits for you when you're vulnerable so that they can then play power games. You know, they suck you into that position, and then they kind of dangle you, you know. And so this is an awakening that you're having to a particular dynamic with someone. I'm going to say with someone who definitely resonates with moth energy, and it's waking you all up this week. You may even decide by the end of the week that you don't even want to give them your cup of love anymore. Chariot, Page of Cups, and the Nine of Cups. This is going to be the last spread, Libra. Some of you are coming into this week with Chariot energy. You are very strongly sort of setting the pace for your futures, marking the path out, getting ready to make a journey or a switch to a certain stage in your life, right? But it hasn't started yet. You're just preparing it now. The 7, of course, is the number for dreams and aspirations, and the Chariot is associated with Cancer energy. But the Chariot's not engaged yet. It's not moving yet. Oftentimes, this card is associated with the idea of motion, but it's not in motion yet. And generally, the Chariot talks about planning the path so that once it is engaged, it is on the right path. Because once the Chariot goes, it won't veer off the path. It goes on the path that you put it on, right? And it's relentless. It won't stop until it reaches its destination, which is why this part of the preparation is so important, because laying the groundwork for the path is the ultimate ingredient to making sure it takes us where we want us to go. And so you're preparing these things, but you're met with a Page of Cups this week, which is like someone, I want to say, is kind of coming into you. They're handing you a cup of love. There's a little bit of chemistry there. They have overcome a fear. You know, they may have been a little bit frightened before to tell you about their feelings, but they're overcoming that now. And they're just giving you a little token right now of how they feel about you. They're testing the waters with you, right? Dipping their toe into the waters with you, because they're being quite optimistic about a possible union here. You round out the week with a 9 of Cups, and it's very nice. It's not necessarily per se that this is all the way, right away a soulmate connection, but it's a nice connection. And you round off the week feeling really kind of blessed and happy. Just seems to be like the beginnings, right? The beginnings of a nice little relationship, and certainly one that you may feel as it develops is one that can go with you on your sort of journey, right? But the fact that you are preparing sort of for this next stage in your life, this journey in your life, right? It is giving you pause for thought when this person comes in. And I'm going to say, Libra, if you're resonating with this, anybody who's right now on the path of the Chariot, any new person coming into your life, you're being very discerning to see are they really going to be able to come with me on this journey, And so, yes, you enjoy them coming and giving you a token of love. You're happy with it. It feels like a blessing, but you're not allowing them all the way in just yet, because you know that only a very, very special person will be able to come with you on this journey. And I'm not sure that you're quite sure that this person is it. All right, guys, this is your reading, December 15th to the 21st. I apologize for it coming out late. Like I said, I had a lot of work getting done on my building, and I had to wait until today to have my space be noise-free. And don't forget to let me know if you're interested in the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal Oracle deck, which I'm giving away for Christmas. Just leave me a message letting me know you're interested, and make sure that you are subscribed. I will be announcing the winner shortly. It'll be probably at the end of this week that I will be announcing the winner, so that I can have time to ship it to them. All right, guys, but for right now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the bell notification so you can get notified of all my premieres. If you want to get a private reading, follow that screen link at the top of your screen. But for right now, Libra, have a wonderful third week in December, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye now.